Dash cams have become invaluable in your vehicle these days. They are so useful. They're kind of like a guardian angel. They're your witness in an accident when no one else sees things and it's your word against the other person, or they help police catch criminals. They are just handy to have, and once you have one, you definitely feel naked without one. But one thing that's really popular now are dual dash cams or dual camera dash cams. I just tested one recently, so it had a front camera and a rear facing camera, which is really handy if you're an Uber or a taxi driver because it actually records the cabin. But if you're not one of those drivers, but you want a dual dash cam for the front and the back, well, this is one to look at. This is the new Rexing V1P Pro. So we have two cameras, one in the front and one at the very back. So first of all, what's in the box? Of course, you get your dash cam, and this one is equipped with a built-in 2.4-inch color screen. The front camera is an OV4689, which is an OmniVision sensor, so it's really good for low light, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. And the rear camera is a Sony IMX323. Also in the kit, you get your cables. The first one is for your front camera, so that goes directly right to your 12-volt power supply. And the second one is for the rear camera, which is a lot longer. I installed it in our 3-row Toyota Highlander. Make sure you route it on the top of the roof liner. If you do that, you'll have plenty to spare. If you try to go the bottom route, you might run into a little bit of a shortage. There's also a quick start guide. As well, they even give you a small little trim tool. It's really handy for prying some of the moldings off to kind of tuck those wires in. I thought it would actually take longer, but it took me about 10 minutes to install it. The rear camera has a built-in adhesive, so when you install it, you just peel off the backing and then you just stick it to it. Make sure if you have a rear wiper that your camera is positioned in the area where that wiper has coverage. Otherwise, you're not going to get a really good picture if it's raining or if it's dirty. In the front, you have a mounting plate that has an adhesive. Measure out where you want to put it, and then you just slide the camera on. Mine is situated just behind the rear view mirror. It doesn't obstruct my vision whatsoever. You can barely see it at all. And then you plug in the rear camera cable and the front power cable, and after that, you're ready to go other than your SD card. These dual cameras have a 170-degree wide angle lens, so that's really nice and wide. It covers a lot of coverage, but it's not too wide that it's going to give you a real fisheye look. When you're using both cameras, it is in 1080, 30 frames per second high definition. If you want to use just the front camera alone, you can go up to 4K at 24 frames per second. Also, you can switch this in a single camera mode also to 60 frames a second for a little bit sharper quality. I'm happy with the 1080p myself. Couple standout features of this dash cam. Number one, it has built-in GPS. Number two, it has built-in Wi-Fi. And number three, it uses a super capacitor. What does that mean? A lot of lower-end cameras use lithium batteries, and the advantage of the super capacitor is that it can actually charge itself up in seconds, basically, opposed to minutes with a lithium battery. It can discharge itself very, very quick, but the best thing is its operating temperature. You see, with lithium batteries, life expectancy can run into maybe, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 cycles. With a supercapacitor, you can run up to 500,000 cycles. So your longevity is going to be way better with a supercapacitor. As well, your dash cam is going to last longer too because you can charge it more, but it also has a better operating temperature. You can operate this dash cam from -20 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 176 degrees Fahrenheit. So that should really cover anywhere that you should live and use this camera. The Rexing V1P Pro does not come with an SD card, so you have to supply that yourself. I would suggest that you go onto their website. They have a whole bunch of recommendations of what cards they've tested and what they recommend. Also, you can use up to a 256 gigabyte card, which should cover you for quite a few days if you just kept on recording and recording and recording. So how does it work? Just like most other dash cams, you have intervals that you can record. I have it set right now for a 3-minute interval. So as we're driving, it's going to record a 3-minute file for the front and one for the back. And it'll keep on doing that, keep on doing that. And when it gets to the end where it gets full, it's just gonna cycle back and erase the first ones and record over those. Now, if you have an incident that you want to record, all you have to do is you hit the OK button like that, and it actually puts that into a separate folder, and that file is locked. You cannot delete that. It will not overwrite that. The only way to get rid of that is by formatting the card. And now if you fill up that folder with locked videos or pictures, well, then you're in trouble. Well, you're gonna have a lot there. Then it's better to just dump them off onto your computer. Operating the V1P Pro couldn't be any easier. There are 5 buttons up front. The one in the center is your power button, which you really don't have to use unless you want to turn your dash cam off for some reason or another. But otherwise, when you start your car up and it receives power, it automatically turns on and it starts recording right away. Now, on the left side, you have an OK button. So that's going to run you through your menus when you ask you for OK. And also, that is what's going to lock your videos. If there's an incident that you want to see, you're going to hit that. Or if you get in an accident, this has a G sensor built in, and it will automatically lock that video. Beside that, you have a record button right there, and you can use that to start or stop recording. Beside that, you have a microphone button. If you hit that, you can see the little icon, that little music note disappears, and you have a red cross that goes through. So now it's not recording audio. If we hit that again, now that's going to record audio. And last, to the right side, it's a pretty important button. That is your menu button. Now, in order to select that, we have to stop recording. Now, if you hit menu, you get 2 choices. You have a camera menu, and if you hit again, then you have your system menu. So let's go back to the camera menu, and you can use the record and mic buttons as arrows. So we can scroll down. You can select your resolution, then you'd hit OK there, and you can see you can cycle through the resolutions. Okay, so we're gonna just leave it at that 1080p, hit OK. And your loop recording, how many minutes? I thought it had 3, but it's actually at 1 minute. If I wanted longer clips, I can go to 3 minutes, like that, hit OK. And your dynamic range, your exposure, if you want to adjust it, I think it's pretty well set at 0. It's pretty good. Recording audio, date stamp, if you want your date stamped into your video, I highly recommend that. Gravity sensing, low, medium, high. So how much G-force it takes to actually lock in that clip in case of an accident. So we have it on low right now. And then you have plate number, where you can enter your license plate, and that'll be stamped in your information as well. So that is the camera screen. And then if we go over to the settings screen, then you have your Wi-Fi. Now, I mentioned this has built-in Wi-Fi. So if you start your Wi-Fi, hit that to on, you can see the Wi-Fi symbol. Now, if you download the Rexing Connect app on your smartphone, you're going to look for that Wi-Fi ID and also use that password, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 default. And when you open your Rexing app, then you can actually watch videos straight from your dash cam. You can see the front, you can see the back videos, whatever you select. You can also review photos if you've taken any photos, which we'll get to in a second. And yeah, it's kind of handy. So in case you don't want to have to take the card out to look at your videos, you can actually look at them on your phone. And then you have your date and time, your auto power off, your device sound if you don't want to hear that beep that you're hearing right now, your language, frequency, screensaver, and daylight savings, depending on where you are in the world. You have GPS speed unit now, so if we hit OK on that, it's going to say off kilometers per hour or miles per hour, depending on where you live. So we live in Canada, we have it set to kilometers per hour. You can put miles per hour if you're more comfortable with that. And then time zone, what time zone you're in, format, that's going to be handy for you, and default setting. And one last one is version. So that is going to tell you, if you hit OK, That is the firmware version. So if you ever have an issue with your dash cam, first thing you want to do is check the firmware. So what you do, write that number down. What I do is actually, I just take a picture of it with my phone and then go to your computer, go to Rexing website, and under support, you're going to find firmware upgrades. And it's going to ask you what dash cam you have and what your firmware is. So you're going to enter it exactly like it is. So after you've entered that, it's going to tell you if you have the most current firmware or not. And if you're not, it's going to prompt you to download the latest one. As you can see in the footage that I've been showing on the screen here, the quality and the resolution is really, really good on this camera. The colors are pretty accurate. I've been kind of throwing it all sorts of things at it just so you can have a good chance to see it in all different conditions, from sunny conditions. Here's a shot going into a backlit situation where we're shooting into the sun, so you can see how it handles the flares, how that rear camera works. Even check out these nighttime shots. It's very, very clear. Of course, we have headlights that are lighting for the front of the car, so that definitely helps, but you can see there's not a lot of grain in some of these night shots here. On the rear shot, of course, that camera is a lot smaller than the front one, but also it's actually shooting directly into headlights, which is a challenge to any type of camera, regardless if it's a dash cam or the camera that I'm recording on right now. All in all, I'm very happy with the picture quality and the operation of this dash cam. So what do you do with the footage after you've taken it? Well, we mentioned you could view it on your phone, but if you want to see some of the files on a bigger screen, of course, well, take that card out, put it into your card reader, put it into your computer. Now you can use your native viewer in your computer, or you can use their GPS logging app. So you go to the Rexing site, and under support, you can download that app. It asks you if you want a PC or a Mac download. I'm on a Mac, so we'll select Mac. So once you download that, you open up that application and you hit open and you grab a file. Now, when it grabs one file, it'll grab the whole folder. So now you have all your video files. You can click on whatever one you want to see. What's kind of cool is you have everything right in front of you on one screen. So of course you have your video file, your playhead. You can just play it like it is. It has your timestamp on it and all your date stamp. But below that you have all your GPS logging data, your longitude, latitude. It has your speed again, but if you go into your preferences, if you want to change from kilometers per hour into miles per hour, for instance, you can just do that. It'll convert it right there, right on the fly. And then off to the side, you actually have a map where your car is superimposed onto the map of where you are driving. So it's really cool. You know, I don't know when I would use it. Probably if I was in an accident. You have all the proof right there in front of you. There is no questioning where you are, how fast you're going. It's all there. Now there are a couple of little small downsides I have with this dash cam. Number one is if you have an older vehicle, for instance, that does not have USB outlets, and you use your cigarette lighter, your 12 volt, to actually run your USB, similar to something like this. Well, the 12 volt adapter that you plug in, or the power supply that you plug in for this dash cam, does not have an additional USB on it like some dash cams do, and that would be nice to have. I don't have an issue with this vehicle. This is a newer vehicle, so it has other USBs in here. I got no issue with that. But for people that might be installing this on something older, yeah, that might be something to look into. And also we mentioned looking at pictures on the app. So how do you take a picture? Well, you basically, that M button, that important menu button, if it doubles as a kind of a feature button. So if you hold it, it changes the screen onto where you see a little camera. Now, if I hit OK, I'm going to wait for this car to go by. Let's see if we can capture. Oh, is he coming in here? Okay. Here, that's perfect timing. So I want to take a picture, and all right, I took a picture. It'll take a picture on the front and the back camera. Now the only thing is that takes kind of two steps. You have to go into that menu to do that photo and then hit OK, when sometimes on other cameras you just have a dedicated photo button. But personally, I don't usually take photos, because if I really needed a photo, I would just do a screen grab from the video. But yeah, those are my two small things that I found on this Rexing V1P Pro. So if you're interested in a full-featured dual dash cam like this V1P Pro that has the dual cameras, the built-in Wi-Fi, the built-in GPS, make sure to check out the link in the video description, because the good old folks at Rexing have provided me a discount code to share it with you. And I don't know how long that's going to last, because previously other companies have done that and they've given me a discount code to share, but after a while it doesn't work anymore. So if you're interested in one of these, make sure to get it pretty quick. And if you want to see any more everyday reviews, make sure to click on that subscription button and hit that bell notification. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more everyday reviews, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.